Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Cigar Social. This is a podcast from just two guys in the Chicago area who get together, talk over some whiskey and a good cigar. My name is Matt. Across from me is a fella who might be the one who let the dogs out. Ken?
Thank you, Matt. Another interesting intro, as usual. I expect that. Thank you.
Ken, today's a very special episode. First, we have the cameras rolling, so you can check us out here at the Smoke Shed Studios on YouTube or on the new Spotify video podcast feature. But most importantly, we have a special guest joining us. He's the owner of Don Rafa Cigars and Tabacalera La Familia. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Which is located in Esteli, Nicaragua. Rafael Jaca?
Yeah.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
So, first, before we do anything, we like to play a game called Show and Tell, which I think today is going to be a little different because usually every episode we alternate who brings the bottle, who brings the cigars. It's traditional around here to start with the cigars. You've already lit one up.
I think we should follow suit.
I think we should follow suit. We're going to be all smoking kind of different Don Rafas. I'm going to go your route just because this is one that we had in a previous episode. I kind of fell in love with it. And it comes in this beautiful box, by the way. I love the logo, but the box is just something that draws your attention. As soon as you walk into a humidor at a Burning Leaf or something like that, you see that box, you just kind of gravitate towards it. It's a great job on the presentation. Ken, what are you going to smoke over there?
Well, you know what? I think I owed it to our fans and our viewers that we needed to go out and do more research. Become more versed in this. So I went out and made sure that I tried many different cigars, and I do love that cigar. Like you said, that was one of our feature ones in episode 2. However, I've been fortunate enough to actually come across some more Don Rafa, and I came across this yesterday from Burning Leaf out there in Aurora, one of my favorite spots, and I'm going to have one of these, and probably, since you are the expert, sir, can you tell us a little bit about this one in particular?
This is a 6x54 short fill cigar, but it's a good tasty cigar, and I enjoy it pretty much. I smoke like 2 or 3 a day of this. Wow. We got 5 sizes on this cigar.
Okay.
We got Robusto, Torpedo, Toro, Churchill, and Grand Toro 6x60.
Okay.
And they're very popular.
So this is going to be a new one for me.
Yeah.
I saw that. I mean, that's the whole thing about it, too, because I don't know if you got a little background on it. We try to do things that we haven't done before.
Right.
But worked out that we found something that we had, and also we found something we liked. And had these cigars, and then we found out we had more and more of them. So it only makes sense to keep trying more and more of these.
Right. So we know that we're smoking these delicious Don Rafas. We're just going to get to the brown liquor real quick. Pour ourselves a drink.
Good idea.
Since this is a special episode, I brought a special bottle to the table. This is my own personal bourbon blend. Some call it the owner's bottle. Some call it an infinity bottle, and this is how it works. When you have a bottle of a good bourbon, or like something like I do, I like variety, so I like to buy different types of bottles of bourbon. When you head down to like the last pour, you pour it into the decanter. And then as you blend your bourbon together, now you kind of want to stick with bourbon. You don't want to go flavors or go with different spirits or anything like that. But as you blend multiple bottles, it'll take on like a taste that's like unique, one of a kind. So you can say it's kind of like a home version of like a Solero system that they use for whiskey and wine, small amounts added from a variety of bottles, and whatever's consumed will then eventually get refilled. So it's kind of like this never-ending bottle of whiskey. So the blend will keep changing, and you can do it with anything. You can do it with vodka. You can do it with gin. In the spirit of tradition, I solemnly swear I did not try this blend since my recent additions. So this will be a new tasting for me and for you.
I second that. Yeah. Yep.
So,
have your lighter real quick.
Yeah, you can have the lighter.
All right.
So, I'll pour ourselves a drink. So, Rafael, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you taking the time. Real quick, but for the listeners and now people watching, if you don't know, Don Rafa is a Chicagoland-based, family-owned business. Pride themselves. You pride on the best Nicaraguan tobacco. And I have a couple questions later on, but just to let you know that I personally enjoy, and feel free to pour yourself a glass of a well-built Nicaraguan cigar. I mean, I like a Nico Puro, and I so many good cigars come out of Nicaragua, and I don't know if it's the volcanic soil, because I know Nicaragua's known for volcanoes. In fact, your Maduro box of this box press has the volcano on it, right? Yeah. Which brings me to a fun fact. Did you know there's 23 volcanoes in Nicaragua?
Yeah.
19 of them are actually active.
Active, yeah. We went to one and we saw that. We saw the lava right there. I couldn't even believe
It's
it.
insane.
I only see that in movies and pictures and videos, but I went to a volcano and it was amazing. You can't even breathe there. The sulfur or something that from the volcano is strong.
Wow.
The air there.
Yeah.
Let me try your blend here.
Yeah, let's try it. Oh, we gotta.
Yeah, of course.
Turned out well so far, but I love it because that bottle, I saw it getting full, and I'm like, you know what, special episode. I need to make room for new additions. So that has a mixture of probably, I mean, geez, so many different. And my father-in-law started me with this idea, and we're like, oh, let's start a log. We can start logging what we put in it. I mean, it's a never-ending list. Like, you'll just continuously. But that's nice and smooth.
Well, yeah, it's tasting it. I mean, when I put it through the whole step-down process, I'm like, there's too many different things to cover. You know, normally we're getting something that we've been tasting before out of the bottle. It's like, okay, I expect this. I'm like, so I was a little bit, probably see it on camera, a little bit befuddled. I'm like, what am I tasting? All of a sudden, oh, there it is. And I'm like, what's that? Didn't expect it with, you know, that combination. It is probably one of the most different things I've had in this type of, forgive me, I need another one.
I know you have. In there, I will say that I don't think there's anything 100 proof or less.
I was just going to ask you, is
I
it
think
proof specific?
the lowest one was, I think, a bottled and bond. The Resilient, when I was down to the Resilient was 100 proof. And I like to stay around that area. Anything too high octane, it's just like fireballs. Anything below that, I mean, it's good for flavor, but the bottled and bond or the 100 proof, I feel, is a good medium level of strength when it comes to whiskey and bourbon.
That's what we've been coming to find out too. When we started, you know, we're not far from experts on it, but we start to get to the point of something we like. And, you know, we're looking for the taste, but it seems like what we've been hitting is something that's been very good on the palate. Doesn't burn too much as far as alcohol goes. When we're in that 80, you know, we're in that 90, you know, kind of, actually 90, 86 was the last one we had. And then an 86 proof, then a 92. And it seems like that less alcohol burn, we call it, the flavor is there, you know. So anything up and down, that doesn't just, you know, dispute the fact there are great ones that have higher proof in there too that we still haven't, you know, really come across. But for sure, that's what we've come across, I'd have to say, right?
I would say so, yeah. So how long have you been in the cigar industry?
Well, we started the company in 2014, and but I've been smoking cigars since '98, and since that I enjoyed cigars, and I said, well, why don't do my own blend, my own cigars, you know?
Wow.
Yeah. And I used to be a truck driver, so I used to go to a lot of gas stations, and gas stations, they don't have premium cigars.
No.
You go to every gas station, and no. You know, when you're driving, you're always, some people that like to smoke, they would like to smoke driving, you know? So I said, well, why don't put like acrylic displays on gas station, liquor stores, and convenience store on consignment? So
Yeah.
They sell, they make money. You know, they don't lose any money having the cigars in there. You know?
Yeah, and they're getting a premium product
Right.
from their stops. Yeah, because most of those guys are on the road for so long.
Right. And a lot of truck drivers smoke cigars. You know.
Sure.
So that's how it started. You know, I started putting cigars on the gas station, liquor stores, and convenience stores, and one skyrocketed. You know. So then I start with I said, I want to be in the smoke shop or the cigar lounges, or I need to have something that the people want it, but I got to compete with 500,000 brands. So I said, I'm going to start with flavor cigars.
Yeah.
It's not that many flavor companies, flavor cigar companies. So I said, well, I'd rather compete with 2 or 3 flavor cigar companies than 1,000, other brands. So I start with flavor cigars. So the brand start getting to, everybody start knowing the brand because of flavors, Really? And then I start doing the premium cigars because everybody knows the brand because of the flavors. That's how it started.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I've noticed that you have a very wide variety of flavors. I'm not a big. I mean, it's not for everybody, I guess. I mean, smoking one of these, I can only imagine it's great. But I mean, we got a couple of boxes on the wall. Peach cobbler.
Right.
I saw one grape.
You said immediately when you smell the box.
Apple teeny. Yeah.
Yeah, apple martini.
Yeah. So I mean, there's that grape box. You can see it. The purple.
Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even with an empty box, you can open it up and you can smell the.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah.
Great, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's.
Yeah, we got 17 flavors. We got from like chocolate mint, cherry cognac, cherry.
I think of like the
vanilla cognac.
In my head, I think of like Willy Wonka. Like, are you stirring up any new flavors?
Right.
Is there something that we should be like?
Now we're coming up with the coffee line.
Oh.
In summer, latte, mocha, and cappuccino.
See, that's something I would do.
See, and that's kind of interesting because we talked about it. When I first started smoking cigars, I'd have a beer and a cigar or whatever. Not, and someone would hand it to me, "Hey, dude, try it. You like it?" I'm like, "Yeah, I would like it." Not knowing anything about it, and still, going through the phases of learning more about it. And then I was told to try it with coffee, and I did with that. I've got black coffee here, so I mean, sorry, folks. I mean, it's not all whiskey. A lot of times we'll bring the coffee and just try it, but just to see that, and that is black coffee that I have in the cup there, and going back and forth with that, and it tastes great with a cigar. So when you started with the flavors, and so you found that niche, you're like, hey, and it took off from there, and you got to the premium. What I mean, don't want to tip the scale either way, but what do you like better? I mean, what are your preferences?
I like premium cigars.
And that's the way it goes, huh?
Yeah, I like premium cigars. But people love flavor cigars, so you got to make what the people want, know what you like.
Well, you're absolutely right.
Yeah,
I've been to a couple, not my fair share. I just started taking golf, and I was telling Matt that my game improved from awful to bad. Mm-hmm. So that's an improvement.
It's an improvement.
Great improvement.
That's a great improvement.
Yeah, right. I won't tell you the scores, but they're not in triple digits anymore.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I
take that back.
Listen, I've traveled with the golf industry for damn near a decade, and I would say if you're not getting paid for it and you're still hitting under 100, that's a good day on a golf course. There's no.
Okay, well, let me get that straight. I think I hit under 100 once then. Okay, now it's perspective. See, when I first started playing,
it's not the truth comes out.
Yeah, well, no, this tells you how novice I am. When I was playing my first, went out, we went down to Florida with my friends. Hey, say, come along. I got some golf clubs that aren't really fitted, and I'm there, and we're playing. At the end of the day, I scored a 140. So I'm like, I win.
You got it under 200.
No, I thought the highest score wins.
Oh.
I'm like, I beat this guy. He's got an 87. And they're like, no, that's not how it works. I'm like, okay. So I kind of refocused that paradigm, and I changed things up. And I chopped it down, about 25 strokes, as the year went on, and I got better. And so now I'm kind of like that 107-ish, 110,
That's
kind of deal.
Not bad. I mean, that's a.
And I had 97 one time. So,
You're below that like laughing mark, like when you get back to the clubhouse after and you go to the
Well,
19th hole.
You tell the guys that I golf with then, because that's all they seem to be doing.
You should play with me more.
Okay.
Often,
Because they're saying, my gosh, hey, Ken's up. Hey, guys, bring a log by. It looks like he's chopping wood.
Yeah.
I'm like, really? Okay. I mean, they're a bunch of cut-ups. And, but it's from the heart. I know they're trying to make it better, right?
So your facility, Tabacalera, La Familia, how many cigars can you produce like daily or monthly? Like how?
We make between 12,000 and 15,000 cigars a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
And obviously all hand rolled. I saw pictures on your Facebook and some of the videos. That's awesome.
Right.
Well, it's funny because, I don't want to gloss over this, but I can see why you smoke a couple of these a day.
Yeah.
These are...
They're very good cigars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably one of the best affordable, tasteful cigars.
Very affordable.
It's very balanced.
Yeah.
You can see, I had to touch it a little bit because that was me reaching over and lightening it correctly. But
we want everybody to smoke cigar. When not everybody can afford a $12, $15 cigar. So
Well, that's what Fred was saying down there.
Right.
And I was asking, Fred a little bit. What's he like? Asking him. He goes, he said right off the bat, he goes, right off the bat, they are all in the quality, nicest guy. He said about you, and not to mention, he said it doesn't matter what cigar somebody's smoking, you have the same attention to it. Somebody has a question about it or whatever, hey, you're like, hey, try this and that. You were all, but it sounds like that that good positive talk precedes you, just so you know that's out there.
Is all your tobacco grown and cured in Nicaragua, or do you source it? Oh, it's all in Nicaragua.
No, we're all Nicaraguan cigars. Different parts of Nicaragua, like Jalapa, Estelí, Condega, Ometepe. We got different.
Do you have any farms in like the Ometepe?
No, we don't have farm. We buy.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna start growing our own next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
And do you use that I think it's all volcanic soil down there, right? Like
the whole country is volcanoes everywhere.
That's the one thing I've noticed is like the Padron 1964 and some of those cigars have such a bold flavor to them, and I think that's because of the way they were grown in that soil.
I love
so
Nicaraguan tobacco. I think for me it's the best in the world.
Yeah.
I tried Cubans, I tried Dominicans, but
you heard it here,
it's
folks.
something on the leaf are so rich on flavor that's why I love them.
Okay, I got two questions for you there. So, doing a little bit of research background, we're talking about the different areas down there. We're talking about Honduras, Nicaragua. Sunlight. Is there some areas, as Nicaragua, as far as their sunlight goes, is that, year-round is something that affects your product or, versus other?
All depends. The tobacco all depends on the weather. If too much rain, too much, if it's too dry, everything affects the tobacco leaf, but pretty much all the time it's good.
So that region, my question more should be, is it balanced? It's more balanced.
Yeah, it's
for
balanced.
That more conducive.
Yeah.
Obviously, you talked about the volcanic soil.
Right.
And also, too, well, let's just show it right here. Got an opportunity yesterday, and I can't smoke it now.
Yeah, I wanted to talk. That's the wild hog you said, right?
The wild hog, yeah.
Yeah.
4.5 by 60.
Okay. Yeah. So just a little bit on that. I had the opportunity to try this yesterday. I was telling you, doing my research,
Right.
And I thought to myself immediately, okay, all right, this is going to go through pretty quick. This is going to be done in a matter of, what we say, we joked a little bit, a half hour that'll be done.
Yeah, 20-minute Tom.
Not the case. Not the case at all. You could tell immediately it's thicker, bolder, well ventilated, I call it, and the way that it steadily burns down is slow, methodical. I showed you a couple pictures. I said, here it is after 20 minutes, and it barely moved.
And the picture you sent me, the ash on it was very like just a good, solid ash. And I know like some people have that like, oh, ash doesn't mean anything. To me, it does, because I've had premium cigars, expensive cigars, that you can kind of look at it and be like, oh, wow, like that ash is nice, white. It's almost crystallizing as you smoke it. The burn ring around it shows the oils on that wrapper itself. And the pictures he was sending me from the wild hog that he smoked is like, oh, wow, all right. Like, that is...
Yeah, because we were dialoguing back and forth, He's we do like do a he likes to do a lot of research, so I started catching up on that. And I'm like, well, I'm going to do more empirical evidence. I'm going to go out into the field, try it out, come back with my findings or do some real time findings and send them. So we were going back and forth on that, and I started saying, I don't know, this might be my new favorite. One of the big characteristics of it, 10-year leaf.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain what that is? I mean,
The process of this cigar, we those leaves are fermented for a long time. Usually the regular cigar, they go from 6 months to a year in the room to fermentate the leaf. And this cigar is a long time process to be able to get to that point where you enjoy a rich, flavory cigar. Some cigars are less time and they're good, but we want to have more time on the cigar so that the flavor comes out, and it's a unique flavor. When you try that cigar, it's something different.
I mean, and I can attest to that because having this one is great, and it like fits the need. It's mild. It's just as you go. When you have something like that I noticed, it's okay. I did do a couple cold pulls. He educated me on that. And I'm like, okay, I'm pulling flavor immediately. Yeah. It's immediately type like, how you get the smell when you put it up your nose, but you're breathing it in and you're tasting it. And then when I let it sit for a little bit, purged it a few times, and it started to have, it's a nice glow. For lack of a better term, it was solid. It was, okay, go ahead and take a pull on this, smoke coming in, and you're blowing the smoke out, and then you're sitting it down. It was funny when you sat it down, there really wasn't a lot of smoke coming off of that. It was all kind of like locked in, for lack of a better term. So when you would take a pull, you're like, oh, wow, there's a lot of smoke there. It looks unassuming. You figure you have a cigar that's ashy and it's got a lot of smoke. This one you take, you're like, okay, there's the smoke, and there it is again. So it was pretty interesting for me. Now, with that 10-year, is that normal? I mean, is that the 4-inch? Is that something that...
No, that's just for that cigar. Not all the cigars you can do that. You want to have production constantly, and if you have a cigar that take too long, how much production you're gonna have.
Okay, and that's exactly it, because I that was the thing that boggled my mind. I'm like, got something here that's more compact, but it is every step of the way quality.
Yeah. And
I don't know what I would do if it was 2 inches longer like that. I'd be like, wow, my gosh.
That's why we make special cigars like that. We make it small. You want to enjoy it, but not like a regular cigar, like for a 7-inch cigar, or we do something special with that cigar.
And it was spot on, and so it was like that education as it was, because I could see, when we talk about the golf course. Can you imagine on the golf course having something like this? And I think that would be perfect. It's a little more compact.
Yep.
And you're enjoying it as you go. You can essentially hold it in your mouth as you're doing what you're doing, and then go from there. But
yeah, I mean, nobody wants like a giant. Like I've seen
some do.
I've seen what the I don't know if the pandemoniums where they're like 8x80s, like they're just
2 feet long.
Yeah.
We got one that we just came out last year. It's called the Savage.
Okay.
7.5 by 70.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's like a Churchill length.
Yeah, but 70 gauge. Yeah. It's some people love those cigars.
There was one that I was looking at the one, and I didn't really. I sat down, started smoking that. I stopped doing the research in the actual humidor. But you have one there. What is that one I was looking at? There's a long, and it is the thicker gauge one. I don't think it's the Goro or something like that.
Gran Toro.
Toro, sorry.
The 6 by 60.
Yeah.
Okay.
It is pretty,
Yeah, it's the Toro Gordo type of style where,
Yeah,
right.
And I was looking at that. I mean, there's a wide selection they have over there.
Right.
Yeah,
we got all the cigars in Bernal Leaf. Yeah.
So they always promote them, and
right.
I'm glad they had, because I wouldn't have known otherwise.
So I know you specialize in private labels too, exclusive for like individuals, stores, events, and venues.
We do for law firms, for their golf outings, and we do private label for private companies and cigar lounge. They want their own tobacco, their own cigars. So.
I think that's a great opportunity for stores and stuff like that to create like something exclusive just for them. I could actually immediately think of a couple of local businesses that I work and friends with that will probably want to collaborate eventually. But
and flavors too. They
And-
want to have their own private flavor that nobody else has.
and so your
we
team,
make
if
them
I
good.
understood it, you can also have like a crew go out, cater to that event, show them how to cut it, how to light it, some cigar etiquette, things of that nature. So that's awesome opportunity for like a golf event or things of that nature,
Or the cigar social.
or the cigar social.
Yeah, sure. Why not? You know, the exclusive line. You know.
The anniversary.
Are there any private labels that you've
Yeah.
done that like kind of immediately stand out that it was like a big hurrah type of thing?
We make some private labels for like big law firm that everybody knows. You know.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, they're everywhere. You know.
Has there been any like events that you've done that like major events?
We did a big event for a radio station.
The Cigar Social Podcast.
Yeah. The radio 5:60 a.m.
Okay.
With this guy.
Okay.
It's a guy and a girl.
Okay. For Chicagoland area.
Yeah, Chicagoland. Yeah.
And I'm sorry. What was the band? Or
5:60 a.m.
560 a.m. Okay.
I forgot.
'Cause I normally listen to sports. I listen to 780s,
Yeah,
70, 1000.
They talk more politics in the morning.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, question. When my wife was pregnant, I tried to like not drink with her, and I read somewhere that root beer is a good pairing for cigars. Is that a flavor that you have in your line, or no?
No sad
I was
surprise.
about to say like that would be awesome because
We got liquor infused too.
I saw that.
We got whiskey,
Okay,
cognac,
now you're
amaretto,
talking. Now you're talking.
rum, tequila. Yeah, we got.
See, okay, because I once again when I was looking through, I saw some other ones that were basically
In the jars. They come
exactly
In the jar
in the
by
jar,
the register.
in the jar by the register. It's
Yeah.
like being at the candy store.
Yeah.
You know, when you're looking, okay, there's my, and I'm looking, I'm just
Yeah.
like, wow, and I felt like a kid in a candy store. And I'm like, okay, just said, hey, get back down to earth, take what you got, and go.
And
Like,
that
for
kind
the
of
next adventure.
falls in line because like my father-in-law, for example, it's debatable. Some folks say do it, some people don't. But he like when he has a good liquor, he'll cut a cigar, dip it, kind of get that flavor on the wrapper itself. And some people are like, oh, that ruins the draw or whatever. But for an infused cigar that already has a cognac flavor to it, I mean, I think that's perfect for someone who enjoys that flavor profile.
Mm-hmm.
And we make a sweet tip. So you put it in your mouth, it's sweet in the tip. And then you get the flavor of the liquor. Yeah.
That's cool.
So there's our. I mean, as I listen to you talk about it, I mean, those are quite popular, is what you're saying. There's a definitely an audience out there that enjoys that. Because I do have some friends of mine who, I mean, they dabble with cigars. They're not, they're the type that they're not going to smoke like we do, or what they'll do is like, hey, I'll have one for an event, or or it's a holiday or something like that, and they're prone to follow something that has that sweet texture to it. That's that sweet profile you guys are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of them will immediately gravitate like to an acid. Will they have that just that general sweet taste to it. But you've taken it to a different level with actually flavorizing the sweet concept.
If you realize, acid is one of the best, probably one of the best sellers you got in the world.
What's that again? What was that?
Acid,
Yeah,
blend,
yeah.
and they got like, I don't know, like 15, 20 sizes and all the same flavor.
They do.
But they sell more than all the big companies. I mean, acid is one of, I could say one or two in the world.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of people are getting into that flavored. One that pops in my head is the Deadwood tobacco company, cigar company. They have the Sweet Jane, and I had one of those, and I'm like, same thing. It was just like that sweet flavor infused wrapper. Yeah.
One thing I'm starting to, I mean, you obviously you plugged into that. You've got a target audience out there that may enjoy a premium, but they definitely gravitate toward that sweet, that sweet and that flavor taste.
And that's pretty much where everybody start. Everybody start with a flavor or sweet cigar.
Yeah, you know what? You're probably right. When I think the first cigar I ever had was maybe a Swisher Sweet. When no one was looking. Right. because I wasn't of age. But I mean, it was like that kind of deal. My grandfather, he lived to 102, and he would every day he would have a Tampa and whatever brown liquor. I mean, he was a VO guy, and he liked to make his highballs. And like I said, he lived a good long time, but he would drink those on a regular basis. And I'd ask, perhaps, how do you do it? I mean, everybody talks about how bad, alcohol is and definitely how smoking is. He's like, oh, I was doing that long before they found out it was bad for you. So, yeah, that doesn't count. That's for me. Yeah.
That's when it was in prescriptions. Like if you were sick, here's some bourbon and a cigar.
And he was right. So I mean, there is, so,
he lost some of them too. So he got a point there.
Yeah, love Grandpa Walter. He, I mean, he basically, he lived his life as he did. He was a World War II vet, born the 4th of July, died 2 days before the 4th of July. But he still was, kicking, and a great guy, as grandfathers go. And, I love the guy. But he was just so down to earth, and things like that were just, hey, this is the way it was. And that was a different group. That group was cut from leather. I mean, we're not going to see that group again, but in any event, here's to you, Gramps,
I enjoy a good bourbon, and Ken, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you're more of an Irish whiskey guy.
Well, we kind of vetted that a little bit. What'll end up happening with me is I've tasted a number of different Irish whiskeys, and for some reason I'm part Irish, but I mean, what'll come to me is there's that certain flavor, that flavor mix seems to, something that I kind of gravitate toward. And, oftentimes I'll say it's my weapon of choice, but I can't sit there and say that, that is it, because I'm open to, you've introduced me to a bunch of great bourbons. I've had some great scotch. But getting back to your original question, yeah, I would have to say if there was a deeper dive for me, it would be something along the Irish whiskey type of line.
So what is your, what's your go-to beverage when you want to just kick back and smoke a cigar and sip on something?
I don't drink that much, but when I drink with a cigar, it could be a beer.
Yeah.
A Heineken.
All right.
See, it was funny, we were talking about this, we're like, he may not drink. Yeah. That was one of the things we're
actually concerned about. I got a bar in the house, and I don't drink.
There you go. Okay.
So if my friends come over and they,
right. Someone will. Yeah. Someone will drink. Yeah. So I thought about it, I'm like, man, should we get some beer?
People see my bar and they say, oh my God, there's got to be a drinker.
Well, right.
That's for decoration.
I got hopefully you could do one of the casts that we have from where I got a downstairs bar, which is it's a whiskey bar. Where I use the term brown liquor because whiskey is specific, but we obviously dabble.
Yeah,
in a whole host
no,
of
you have a
things.
nice setup downstairs in your house.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that. I mean, like how yours is there.
It's more of a Steelers bar.
It's a Steeler bar for good reason.
So we don't go there that often.
Do you know? I don't know if you heard. He's a Dallas fan.
That's why you hang out.
Yeah, I know. Do you sports fan, football fan?
Yeah, no. I watch sports. Yeah.
Do you like?
I used to play baseball.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
So here you are in the Chicagoland area.
Yeah.
I'll ask it right now, because we can immediately have a house divided. I think. Maybe not so much. White Sox or Cubs?
Cubs.
Oh. Did you hear that? It was my back. Well,
crack your.
Oh. You know what? Fine.
Yeah.
I would say I forgive you. It's okay. No, I mean we literally are in our household a house divided.
And actually, you know what? My first Cubs game, it was last year. I've been here 27 years.
Really?
And the first Cubs game was last year.
Wow.
I've been 3 times in White Sox and 1 time in the Cubs, and it was last year.
Wow.
I don't get me wrong. I love going to a Cub game. A Cub game is an experience.
Cubs game is something else.
Isn't it, though?
Man,
yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, that park is full. I said, people don't work here?
Yeah.
Everyone's in the game.
And not only that, the stadium is full, but then Wrigleyville around it, at the Cubby Bear, at Murphy's Bleachers,
oh my God.
It's pandemonium.
All those bleachers in the rooftop.
Yep, rooftops.
My God.
So I've done that. I've done the rooftop a couple times.
Right.
So that's been a great experience. Been out there like, here's me. I'm like, this is genius. You're literally think you drink all the way. What is it? When do they cut you off?
7th inning.
7th inning. But in the meantime, you already paid your upfront price. I mean, you almost sit like 90 people up there. And they've got, the way that it's set up, you can, go indoors and you can, you're eating, drinking the whole time. Great setup. So I've been steadily throughout my life going to a Cub game, and I'm not like every year go to one, but I've seen the progression. We'll call it evolution for the Cubs, if you can say that. But what they've done is it's kind of genius how they've reinvested back in that area. You're saying Wrigleyville. So that area there, like brick houses and, that bar they have there and all that. So I got to tell this story. There was I think it was a couple of years back. It was before COVID. So things were more free, easy, and open. We took a bus ride down there. You got that bus trips that everybody's there, and you get down there, you got your tickets, and you go. So before we actually are able to start getting seated, start to enjoy the area there. Like things going on. I mean, it almost, dare I say, kid-friendly kind of thing going on right outside the stadium or the park. And there's the bar brick houses. So I figure I'm going to go in, I'm going to have a drink. So I have a drink there, and I get myself a, Jameson and ginger ale. Nice tall one. I think I spent $11. And I'm drinking it, and I'm thinking, oh, okay, this is all common area. I'm going to go ahead and walk out. And they're like, oh, no, buddy, you got to finish that right here. And I'm like, I could see where I need to go. I'm like, you know what? Okay. I'm a rule follower. So here I am, 3/4 of a drink was left. And then within the next 12 seconds, it wasn't. It was gone. I'm like, okay, whatever. So now I get in line. And I'm like, wow, okay, the line, it's okay, no big deal. Lo and behold, there's a beer tent right where I line up to get in line here. And I'm like, you know what? I'll have a beer there. So I get a 16-ouncer, pay the fee, and I start drinking that. Well, no sooner did I start drinking this, the line starts moving. So I'm like, okay, here we go. Let's test the waters again. And before I said anything, I saw a group of people over there basically holding their nose, chugging their beers. And I'm like, okay, that's where I need to go. So, because I know they're not going to let me go past, So sure as heck, I go there, and I think I drank that in 32 seconds. And then I finally get in, and of course I'm empty-handed, so what do I need to do now? Okay, what a racket. I'll tell you, it was like genius. But by the same, it just promotes heavy episodic drinking, which I think they're trying to avoid. I get it, I understand that, but I'm like, bravo. Okay, I was in the system, and I think the Cubs beat St. Louis that day. I can't, but anyway, yeah, I'm a White Sox fan. My brother, my dad, my older sister, they are all Cub fans. And I think the reason why I like the White Sox, well, there's me and my wife, my son, and I think he is because, Dad influenced that. But I remember why that? Why did you pick White Sox over Cubs? And I remember as a kid when we had good grades, they would send you tickets in the mail. It's amazing what that resonated as, One year I took.
That's like a drug. It's like giving you a drug. You got a book on it, right?
Well, it's like they're like, we're going to start them young.
Yeah.
And the Cubs but the Cubs didn't have to do that. They're like, no, like you said, every day of the week you're going to put people in there. And
you go to the White Sox empty.
Yeah.
Even Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah.
When you go to the Cubs,
yeah,
different story.
Yeah.
Well, they don't call us diehard White Sox fans. They call them diehard Cub fans. I don't know why do they do that. Matt,
I have no idea.
Well, it's like a diehard Met fan.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm a
yeah. Oh, shots fired.
Yeah, I'm from Jersey, so I'm a Mets fan. I'll root for a Chicago team, just because I like the sport, I like the game. I've actually been to a Braves game at SunTrust in Atlanta to see the White Sox play the Braves. The White Sox had to do a pitching change in the first inning. That's how bad it ended up. Like, it was awful. But the highlight of the night was right outside. They kind of built like a town, like a little village around the stadium with a whole bunch of stores and stuff. And they had a really badass smoke lounge there. I can't remember the name of it, but we went there, had a cigar, and just relaxed after the game. It was pretty awesome.
Where was it? Were you in
Atlanta?
Atlanta.
Yeah.
I thought that story. I thought you were like 12 years old when the White Sox had to need a pitching change and all that.
No. This was a couple years ago. This was
okay.
probably
all right.
3 years ago, I want to say. Yeah. Hey, by the way, look at the ash on that.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Mine fell off. It is
Yeah.
just it
I'm trying not to. I think one of these episodes we're going to do a long ash competition
really
and see who drops ash first.
okay. All right.
I think that's going to be coming up.
Drops ash first.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that idea.
Hey,
So-
not to put you on the spot, and I know it's like picking your favorite child, but out of all of them, and
Okay.
what is your favorite creation here?
I love the box press.
The box press Habano?
Habano.
Yeah, and that was the one.
It is awesome.
Yeah.
That's what I have. Yeah.
That was the one that Kyle
Right.
introduced us to that one, and sure as heck, I mean, I
Right.
never tried it, and the box press. We went on and on about that one, if I remember correctly, and that one was a good. You get the first impression,
Right.
and you're probably spot on with that. If you want a first impression with
Right.
yours
Mhm.
and your premium
Box
cigar
press, yeah.
smoker, try that one.
Can I borrow this for a second?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Try that one, and I think there's probably no better way to say that. If you want to go ahead and probably introduce, aside from your flavor ones,
Yeah.
of course.
Right.
But,
Sweet lighter, by the way. Sweet lighter.
Oh yeah, very nice. Yeah.
I have no complaints with this cigar either. I would
Yeah,
get
that
this-
cigars is. I love those cigars.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the other thing too is like when you got some of the background of what we're doing here, it guys and gals out there who basically don't really know or want to go and try and they want to get into it and they're dabbling with it. And it's great insight you bring with as far as the sweet ones because I would never thought that. I would have thought the sweet ones were more of a gimmicky thing, but they're not.
No.
They're clearly they're kind of a mainstream type of concept. Especially you saying that's how you started, and then it blossomed into here we sit today, onward and upward. So
So I know you can check out Don Rafa on Facebook. You have an Instagram, and obviously DonRafaCigars.com. Besides DonRafaCigars.com and our friends down at Burning Leaf in Naperville, where else would you be able to find?
We're all over Chicagoland area. Most of the lounges.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in Rocky Patel, Ultimate. We got pretty much all of them.
okay,
Yeah.
because I started asking around too, and then they've had them.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I would have never known that. No offense, I didn't know that it wouldn't exist until it was introduced to me, and thankful for that in that regard.
Yeah, and I've also noticed that you have a collaboration with Frontline Cigars.
Yeah.
Our Steve
Mhm.
down at Frontline. I saw a picture and I saw the video on YouTube. I'm gonna pull the trigger and probably buy a couple because they look awesome. But the Defender, I think, is probably one of the most. I've seen barber poles using Candela. I've seen Candela used in different ways, but I've never seen it in such a meaningful way, right? Because it's supposed to it's to represent and support the troops and the military. So the cap. The head is green, Candela, and the foot is green to kind of like mirror like a helmet and boots type of thing. And I think that is awesome.
Yeah. And Steve is a great guy. So
Yeah, we want to meet him sometime.
Yeah,
It was
very nice guy.
because he did a little research on there and saw you guys on YouTube. I'm like, okay, we gotta reach out to these cats, and that's near and dear to us. First responders, military, clearly something that we have.
He got the blue
Strong.
line for the the cops, and the defender for the military.
Is he working on a red line?
Yeah, he worked in the red line.
Is he really? Okay, I'm assuming for
Yeah.
firemen.
Yeah, fireman.
You know?
Yeah, I was a volunteer fireman in Jersey for a couple of years, so that'd be pretty cool to see how that comes out.
Yeah, he's.
Well, I'd love to see that. Yeah. Gosh. The question there. Are we going to go with what's on your mind?
We could. Well, sure.
Okay.
What's on your mind?
Okay. So background. We do a little bit of a little off topic, like guys when they start smoking, talking. What's on my mind, huh? Well, I thought it was interesting. I don't know if you pay attention to the House Representatives passed the legalization of cannabis
Federally.
federally. Of course, the issue is will it be accepted in the Senate? Most likely not at this point in time.
I don't know. I don't know. It's a good question. There's a huge debate, and I feel like it's a 50-50, really. I mean,
Well, you know that cannabis was legal in this country, You know that back in, I mean, I think I misquoted before. The Stamp Act was in 1937, and essentially it's basically saying, you can do it. You basically have to register and with IRS, and but you have to pay an occupational tax to it. So people are like, well, why would I do that? I can just grow it in my backyard and go from there. So I mean, I think what the interesting part of it is for me. Oh, that's right. Can you
It's time to top
off?
Time
Are
to
you
top
good
off.
there? Are you all right? It's the time where we. Yeah, that's no. That's the whole thing about it. I'm reaching.
I know. I'm trying to get a better grip on the can. This thing is heavy as hell.
So strong. Okay. And another. Okay.
You do it yourself? You still do this?
Well, no. So yeah, that's the beauty. The beauty of the Infinity bottle, owner's bottle, private book. Every time you get down to like that last glass, it's almost like the last glass goes to the house type of deal. And as long as you kind of keep it consistent, I'm a big bourbon fan, so that's all different types of bourbon. So yeah, it's something that it's kind of cool because it'll fill up, and then time like this will come along, take a good chunk out of it, maybe finish it, and start over.
And just to finish off what we're talking about with the legalizing it, if you do legal, let's say it does happen. There are states out there that actually do have it legal, and the federal government hasn't recognized it. I think we mentioned before that's their issue. That's the 10th Amendment thing. State sovereignty, you can do it on their own, but subject to debate. But moving forward with it, I'm like, let's say it is legalized. I'm like, well, how do you manage it? You don't want the same debacle you had back in the 30s. So you don't want to go ahead and obviously they're regulated. You can buy it at dispensaries in Illinois. You pay the fees, the taxes that are associated with it, et cetera, et cetera. And you're like, well, how do we get away from what happened 100 years ago? People are like, why would I do that? It happened years ago. It failed. I have an idea because now what are we trying to do? We're trying to do more restorative justice. We're trying to keep more people out of jail. And when am I going to start arresting people who have in possession marijuana that has not been registered properly or gone through the proper channels? Said, well, you adopt what a lot of other countries have done as far as like sanctions or consequences, a heavy duty fine system, more administrative. Like, I'm not going to take you to jail for this, but you're going to have a heavy fine and you'll see your day in court, etc. with that. And then you start hitting them in the pocketbook. But also another thing too is this, who's going to regulate this? And immediately comes to mind, you have the ATF, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, and explosives. But now are they the alcohol, tobacco, firearms, explosives, and cannabis agency? Or do you have another subgroup? So it will create new jobs at the federal level for the regulation part of it. But by the same breath, I think it can work. But now you start moving away from we're going to warehouse people, lock them up, because you're trying to keep people out of jail for minor drug offenses. And if you legalize it, what are your sanctions? Well, they're going to have to be fines. They're going to be administrative in nature. I mean, yeah. I mean, and that's how you're going to get them. You're going to get them in instant. Like, listen, I don't want to put you in jail for not following the rules for our new laws with this. So we're going to take it a different route. And I think that's the only way it can work, be successful with that.
Yeah.
So that was what was on my mind.
I think it's all about the money.
It was.
That's all.
Well, that was the thing about it. That's why they, in the original, when they put the tax stamp out there, and like, okay, we're not getting our money. Nobody's following the rules. Let's just make it illegal because we can't regulate it. We can't get the money, like you said. Right. You're spot on.
Because now all the states that approve the marijuana they're making millions and millions and millions in taxes. It's just insane.
You're right, and you are. I mean, good, bad, or in between on it. I mean, is it a win-win? Finally, you're talking about. I think we talk about alcohol is a more psychoactive drug than cannabis is, and the stigma from it is lessened. When they've looked over time and time again, they've essentially said that this is not as what's the word I'm looking for? Detrimental. I mean, would you say as far as like something that would involve a sin tax or whatever it may be?
Yeah.
Victimless, in line with gambling, in line with whatever. But I think that's where the time change. They have to make that turn. But I don't believe it's going to get passed with the Senate the way it is. There's still they would vote it down for the reasons that they have. But who knows?
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving forward.
I have a cigar do, don't, or myth.
Do tell.
So today is a myth. The difference between strength and body on a cigar. Some people
Strength and body.
Yeah. So people will say this is a full body, and they'll refer to the strength of it. The body is strength and body are two completely different things when it comes to cigars. The strength is based on nicotine levels and the effects that it has on you, like your nicotine buzz or whatever folks may get from it.
Huh.
And the body refers to the actual depth of the flavor. So, for example, like a full-bodied cigar will be rich and bold flavor, heavy flavor, like a good Maduro or strong flavor, right?
Doesn't have to be Maduro. You can make a full body cigar in Connecticut. It's what you put inside the cigar.
Like a Connecticut broadleaf or
people
something?
think that they see a dark Maduro wrapper. Immediately they think that it's a strong cigar.
You're
it's not.
You're exactly right. That's
that was our myth last episode. Was people think darker is stronger? No.
It's funny.
It might have a bit more flavor.
Right.
Before I even got into that, when I saw that, that's what I said. Oh, look, it's darker. It must be more stronger. It must be more a higher concentration of nicotine.
You can make a mild cigar and Maduro wrapper.
Yeah, like you can have a mild cigar.
Yeah.
But it's full body.
Right.
Right. Exactly. Because you get most of your flavor from
the
the
wrapper.
wrapper.
You can make a Connecticut double ligero. Ligero is the leaf that gives the strength of the cigar. Some cigars have half a leaf, a full leaf, or two leaf. So that's the strength of the cigar.
It all depends on the blend, right? Because you have the seco.
Right.
Seco's down at the bottom, right? And I'm still trying to learn.
Yeah.
Seco, ligero, diesel. Then the binder and the wrapper.
You heard it here.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm educated. It's so funny where, I always go ahead and you personalize things, like your personal experiences with things. And when I was looking at it, I'm like, I've always looked at cigars. I'm like, oh, that looks like a lighter. That must be, mellow, medium too. And, as time went by, obviously what we looked into, and obviously, what you said for sure, and you've said this before too. It's like, no, don't. It is definitely, I think he even said, don't judge that book by its cover.
That's exactly
that
it.
premise.
Don't judge that cigar by its wrapper.
Yeah, because before you know it,
the king can kick you in the ball.
He can kick you somewhere.
And that's worse than being drunk.
Yeah. No, there's been a couple times where,
and it's that's funny too, because I want to talk about that as well. There's been times where I have been, sober as a judge, debatable. But then all of a sudden I'm like, I took maybe a quarter of the way through my cigar. Thank you. And all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, hey, and
that lasts for a long time. Usually when that happens to me, no, you get dizzy.
It's almost unenjoyable.
Oh, no. It's not enjoyable at all.
There's a cigar that I've had, and it's, probably in my top 10. And it's a Cameroon wrapper, and it's a Churchill size, 7x50. It's a CAO Vision. They did it like a couple years ago. They did it for 2020.
Thank you, friend.
And I've talked about this a lot because it's like one of my go-tos. I have a couple still in my humidor that they don't make them anymore. But it's weird because there's times where I'll smoke that, and like I'll be like, oh wow, I'll get to the second, third, and I'm like, whew.
That's the problem with it. You're like clipping along. Also, okay, wait a minute.
But then there's times it doesn't really affect me, and it's kind of weird. But it's I would definitely consider that.
It depends where you are. If you're in an area where the smoke goes away, you're fine. But if you start breathing that smoke, man.
Like it's funny you say that. I got a story that's attached to that. My brother, he loves cigars, so he's been benefiting from this. I bring him a cigar to try this because he's just kind of like a unattached. Like I like this one, I don't like it. Anyway, his father-in-law, big-time cigar smoker, well-educated, understanding of it, and unfortunately, he's passed on. But my brother knew that he was accepted into the club when he first married his wife. So the dad said, "Hey, come hang out with my buddies. We're gonna have a cigar, this and that." So it was like he just told me the story recently, so I'm kind of paraphrasing it. So he said, "Yeah." So they're all lighting up cigars, enjoying them, and they're doing their thing. And I guess what happens is he's sitting there, and they are in the same room with him, and they're gonna pull a prank. So what was happening was the dad kept pulling his attention. "Hey, Keith, I want to tell you this and that, this and that." So the other guys, what they were doing was really toking it and blowing the smoke at him, blowing smoke at him, blowing the smoke at him. And he's like, he's just trying to press. He's just trying to fit in. And he's having taking his own drags. And all of a sudden, first he's like, "All right, I think I need some air." Okay. So he staggers out and gets some fresh air, and I think he's
turned white.
He turned green.
He said
he looked in the mirror. I think he said he turned green.
Sweating
Yeah, but here's it. And I know my brother could just imagine him in the mirror. "Oh, you have to pull it together, man. Give him some self-talk. Like, you got to show that you're tough. Get back in there." And then he gets back in there, and I think eventually they let him off the hook. But no, exactly. So, folks, and anybody watching there, there's a tip. There's a tip. Make darn sure that you're in a well-ventilated area, because while you're smoking these cigars, if you go ahead and ingest more smoke than you need to, it's going to have a different outcome as far as quality of the experience.
What do you think of the private owner's bottle, infinity bottle, private?
That's a great idea.
Yeah?
Yeah. That's a great idea.
So next time we see you, we got to get you some Heineken, is what you said. Okay. All right. We could do
well,
that.
I want to do a beer episode. I mean, we did an after hours bonus episode, and we kind of burnt a second cigar the last time we got together, and we're drinking Solemn Oath, which is a local Illinois brewery.
Naperville, yeah.
So, but yeah, I think we can maybe have an episode where we have a brown liquor, but a beer.
I've heard about coffee to the scene, so everything is like fair game now, right?
Yeah, you guys can come to the lounge anytime you guys want, and we can drink there too. Yeah,
absolutely.
See? Yeah,
That sounds like an invite.
That's the invitation. Yeah. We can watch the sport there.
Okay.
We can watch the Cubs there.
Oh, that's okay. Here we go. This is how it's gonna be. It's gonna be a wild summer.
The channel with the White Sox are playing.
Wow. Okay.
No, we'll watch it for you. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, you like? Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta take this phone call. Hey, what the White Sox on? Oh boy. Yeah. Okay. All right.
No, we'll do it for you.
Let's establish.
We'll do it for you. Yeah, we'll do it for you. Or if they play against each other, then
okay.
That's a good game.
Yeah. I'll tell you what. I do want to bring up something from a sports aspect of it. We always seem to gravitate to football. Big football fans.
Yeah.
Did you hear about the new change in the overtime setting?
Playoff only deal. Yeah.
Okay. What did you hear?
So what I heard was both teams will have the ability to have possession of the ball. But I didn't read too far into it. But I think that's to avoid what happened. Yeah.
So now what they were having was, they've gone ahead, like if some team, they get the flip of the coin, they score a touchdown, it's over. So a lot of people have been, arguing and screaming, saying, hey, well, it's not fair. I mean, especially in a playoff game. They should get their bite at the apple. They should be.
I think that. I mean, not to cut you off, but I
knee-jerk reaction.
My knee-jerk is if they're going to do that.
Go ahead.
It should be season long.
Okay.
Because that affects who goes to the playoffs.
Okay.
So if you were going to give that special provision, if you would, to playoff only.
Sure.
That affects the outcome of the playoffs and obviously the Super Bowl.
Correct.
But you can't, if you want to play in the spirit of fairness,
sure,
every team should have that ability throughout the entire season to then determine who goes to those playoffs.
Well, you're coming from a common sense approach.
Right,
and I appreciate
which is
that.
The uncommon sense.
So, yeah, why do that? And here's me. I mean, we talk about the things we lie awake in bed and look at the ceiling and think about, the carnival of horrors that I wake up to and think to about dumb things that keep me up at night. This one right here, really, I just, another kicking and screaming moment for me. Like, so I kind of like divorced myself a little bit. We have the 17-game season this first year, the inaugural, first time. Did you guys notice more overtime games than normal?
I didn't notice it, but now that you bring it up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm the spirit of correlation. We can go ahead and correlate anything. Okay, we got an extra game. We've got more ties, or at least overtimes. Let's go to that. Okay. So, I mean, I looked at that, and this is something they should probably check for the next 10 years. Watch it. Ever since the 17-game season, do we have more overtime situations? Number one. My point is this. Will you please just get it right? I know you guys went ahead and you have a 17-game season. We don't want to go ahead. It's too much time on the field. Overtime. You wanted to get away from the sudden death. I'm in line with what you're saying across the board. Obviously, during the season, it can end in a tie. Playoffs cannot. Simply put, we do your 10 or your 12-minute fifth quarter. At the end of that, it's over. In the regular season, we're done. Keep it simple. Okay? Playoffs, 10-minute, 12-minute. If it still is a tie, then we go to sudden death. Who cares? A safety, field goal, whatever it may be, it should end it. And that is, I want to say, and I thought most of the listeners could probably say, all 12 of them.
I think we're down to 2 now.
Yeah, we're down to 2 now. We'll tell you that, no, that makes sense. Okay, let's not adopt the college thing where we stick you on 25-yard line and keep scoring, and keep going and going and going. That is ridiculous in its own self, too. But since you've gone ahead and extended the season, an extra game, still wear and tear on these guys.
Oh, I got a good idea.
Go.
What if we do what they do in hockey?
Almost thought about that, too.
A shootout. Leave it to the kicker. Right? Because that dude doesn't get a lot of field time. So let's give him the opportunity to win a game. We'll start him at the 20. Both kickers get a chance. Both make it. Cool. Back him up 10 yards. Kick it. Back him up 10 yards. And then whoever misses.
No, I got a better idea. Here's my idea. Okay? You got a kicker and 2 defenders. Okay? And 1 kick receiver. A guy returning the kickoff. 3 against 1.
If we go all the way down.
Yeah. You
Who
got
can
one
bring it
guy
back?
catching the ball, and you got 3 guys. Well, basically 2. The kicker.
That would be interesting.
That right there will be it. Okay, you do. That's your shootout. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Who keeps running it back for a touchdown? 3 guys. Well, 3 kick it off. 1 guy receives with no blockers. Okay, and you got the whole field.
Mm.
What do you think, guys? Call the NFL right now.
Yeah, Roger,
No, really.
Roger Goodell, do you
really.
hear this?
Call them. I know you must be done.
So the kicker doesn't work?
Well, the kicker
After
can.
the kick?
The kicker can,
Yeah.
but everybody. I mean, inherently, the kicker.
Or maybe the kicker kick and then leave. And then
Okay.
the other 2 stay.
Okay. Well, I'm
Yeah.
thinking 3. I think
Yeah,
is
yeah.
a good.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the kicker is not good at tackle. I mean,
Right. Kicker is.
Yeah,
He doesn't even have the right
Then they'll
helmet, I
then they'd
think.
be like, hey,
Right.
the minute your kicker gets hurt and he's done, that was a dumb idea. We'll never do that again.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, there's
You know.
a whole bunch of different things.
Yeah.
That's it.
So I think if you do something like that, it's more gladiator type. But is it really? I mean, it's more skill.
Yeah.
Because you can basically your finger knocking a toenail can knock a guy into and it's over. So that's your shootout.
Yeah.
Maybe you do 1 for 1 and go from there. I don't say you do it 5 times, but just do last one standing. That's it. Wow, look at all the problems we solved, and you know what? It's all because of cigars.
Well, I think we gotta.
And
we're burning through this last third here.
here we are.
And as we take the bands off, and we're about to take mine off. That tells me that this episode is down to a nub.
Okay.
I'd like to give a shout out to our listeners outside of the U.S. in Canada, Honduras, and Czech Republic. I had no idea that we were going to reach that far. We also have followers on Cigar Scanner and Cigar Dojo now.
We're Globo.
We have a special shout out to somebody in Cigar Dojo, Punish Kushner Burrell, who is located in Gastonia, North Carolina.
Okay.
Wanted to say hi. He reached out. We also wanted to thank all of you for listening, especially those who hit the support button on our main page. Very special. Thank you, Rafael, for joining us.
Thank you guys for having us.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
Yes. You find we try to class it up,
Yeah.
and thank you for immediately doing that
Yeah.
for us. Okay, appreciate that.
Great experience.
Well, we'll do it again, right? You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to do this again.
Yeah.
Especially when he comes out with that giant cigar that he was talking about.
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh!
Defender.
Like I said, the Defender.
No,
the
the Savage.
The Savage.
Defender
Savage.
from Frontline.
Right.
Oh, it's okay, it's from
Well, that's
Frontline.
something. Yeah, you got to reach out to
Defender,
Steve. Say,
yeah,
hey,
Steve,
Steve. Okay.
Steve, you
Yeah.
see it? All right.
Steve. Yeah, you're like, hey, I've met these guys.
Yeah.
You know,
Make sure you're a White Sox fan. When you come.
I will not hold it against. I mean, you know, everybody loves the Cubbies. It's so easy to love the Cubs. All I do is
Yeah.
just show up and.
I'd be happy if he shows up with a Mets hat. Is what I'm saying.
Oh my gosh, I like a Pirates hat because it's Steelers, of course.
Oh God.
You know.
But hope you join us again here at the Cigar Social. And until the next time, keep putting smoke in the air. And I'd like to say, just stay safe, everybody.
Okay.
All right.
All right, folks. Thanks for hanging out with us just for a little bit. Hope we made your day.
Until the next one.
Until the next one. Indeed.
Cheers.
Yeah.
Cheers.